Hey guys, what's up? Collin here from the WHOA GNV Podcast. In today's episode, we had Brinn and Greg Strange, and they have had a company, a startup called Bar Forte for the last 3 years. And the day that we recorded the podcast, like later on in the day, they actually had a rebrand, a change in name. So now their company is called AUXO Fitness. So just know that even though we're referencing everything as a Bar Forte throughout the podcast, it is actually now called AUXO Fitness. Go look them up on all their social media stuff because it's a new chapter, a new stage in their company. Thank you. You are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. And welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV Podcast. Woohoo!
Yay!
That's Brinn and Greg
so
in your
animated,
ear right
fella.
there. You guys, I'm so pumped you're here. To everybody who is listening and watching, let me explain who these wonderful people are in front of me. We have Greg and Brinn. I should say, I always want to start with the females first, actually. Brinn and Greg.
That's the way we do it typically.
This is the final episode of our husband and wife episodes on the podcast for the month of July. We had all husband and wife business
Pressure.
owners inside. You got to close it out really, really good.
Jeez.
And they are more than just amazing business owners. They are my next door neighbors. They live right across the street from us.
It's
and,
true.
you know, this is one of the things that always happens when it comes to new people moving into your neighborhood. You're always like, oh, please let them be cool. Please let them be cool. Yeah. You know, you got that for sale sign out front for a while, and then people are looking at the house. You're always looking at people taking the tours. I'm like, please let them be cool. And then when I found out they were entrepreneurs, I thought I had won the lottery.
Well,
I'm like, yes, our neighborhood is awesome.
we knew kind of from the get-go because we did the remodel to start with, and I was doing demo on one of the first days, and Shannon and Adriana were in your driveway watching the kids play basketball, drinking some wine out front, and waved, and I just ran over, said hello.
I was like, what's up?
That was the first time I met them. I was like, oh, we'll fit right in here.
That's right, exactly. And they are obviously more than just my neighbors. They own Bar Forte, a woman-focused fitness studio that specializes in bar, yoga, and Pilates. And, man, I'm just super pumped to get into some questions. And I want to let everybody know, I want to tell a really quick story.
Okay.
Because with us being neighbors, we get to spend a lot of time with each other. And I got invited to my first wine tasting. And it was really put on, obviously by both Brinn and Greg, but Greg knows how to pour glasses for wine, and I had never been to a wine tasting before, and
You got to pace yourself.
apparently you're not supposed to drink 8 or 9 full complete glasses of wine.
There's a spit bucket.
just a suggestion.
There's a dump spit bucket.
Well, the fact that you would pour a glass of wine, try it, and then waste
know.
the rest of it
you got to pour
just-
enough in there to.
doesn't resonate with me at all. So, the good thing about drinking in your neighborhood is that you walk across the street when you're done. So that was the good thing.
That was a fun night.
But you are by far my favorite wine host of anybody I know. I've only been to one.
I'm one-on-one.
I've only been to one.
Sweet.
but-
All right, let's get it back to fitness.
I'm
I
not
thought you were going to talk about your first bar class.
So we're going to get into your story in just a second, but I want to check in with Ty real quick because I want to see what's going on in Best of Gainesville world, but I also want to clear something up that we were talking about with Instagram TV.
Yeah.
Because IGTV had come out right before the last episode, and we had said that we had thought that it was up to an hour.
Yeah.
All right, so did you see this?
Yeah.
So I think, is yours up to an hour? In terms of record, so what I'm talking about to everybody who's listening is the amount of record time for Instagram TV. Is yours?
Mine still says an hour.
It's
but-
an hour.
yeah.
Okay. So this is what I figured out. Because you had told me that you could record up to an hour. That's
Yeah.
for your Best of Gainesville account.
Okay.
Right? Because it has to do with the amount of followers. I don't know what that number
Yeah, I'm
is.
still learning a little bit.
Okay.
I uploaded one this morning, just a 15-second teaser for the podcast. But I'm still learning about it.
Okay. So from what I read, for our WHOA GNV podcast, Instagram channel, we can do, because it's new.
Yeah.
We can do, I think it was 15 seconds to 10 minutes.
Okay.
And I think because of the size of that particular account, you can do up to an hour. And then I hear that Instagram wants to like make it unlimited for everybody at some point. So
That's pretty cool.
So there you go. We just want to clear that up because we didn't want
So
people.
we'll get the best 10 minutes of this on Instagram. And then
Yeah,
we can
exactly.
edit out my parts. Awesome. I like it.
We didn't want people chiming in and being like, "You guys are liars on the podcast." So, well, what's going on in Best of Gainesville world, man?
Nothing. Just on that note, what's kind of funny on Facebook the other day, I saw that you liked this social media counter. And this isn't an ad for this company. I wish it was. Maybe they'll send us one. But Smiler.
I think it's Smurl, right?
Smurl. Yeah, I guess Smurl. SMIIRL.
Hey, you
It's
know
pretty
we
cool.
have those.
You have one of these in here?
Yeah, we have one for Instagram and one for Facebook inside the showroom.
That's pretty cool.
And it's fun.
I've not seen one in person yet. We got to check it out after the podcast.
So go in after the podcast, unlike us,
I will.
and then like us again
Okay.
and watch it flip. It's cool. We've
Cool.
done that a million times. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think it's been helpful?
It's neat. It's more when people are waiting. It's just the interactiveness of it.
Yeah.
You know, because people will be sitting there waiting to get their scooter's oil change or something, and they'll see them, and they'll like click it and try it, and,
Yeah.
and it works, man. It's neat.
Yeah, that's super
So,
cool.
but I
Super
mean,
cool.
I don't necessarily know if the counter has what's led to
Yeah, of
more
course.
followers, but it brings
definitely
awareness,
it's a
right?
conversation piece.
It
Yeah.
brings
Yeah.
awareness to the fact that you have an Instagram account, that you have a Facebook account, and
Cool.
And hey, if you like us, maybe you should go follow us. So
Yeah.
it's pretty neat. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
What made you pull that out of your hat? You just saw it?
I saw it on Facebook. Facebook's connecting, said Collin Austin likes this thing. And I was
Oh,
like, oh,
gotcha.
I like this thing too. So I think we're the only two people in my friend circle that like it. So
Okay.
it's kind of funny.
So social media. is best
Colin
right
has
there.
like an up-to-date social media little gadget. Shocking. Weird.
Exactly.
Weird. He's already got it.
Right.
So I'm blown away by
super
that.
shocking. I know. So, well, you guys, again, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks
I'm
for having
super pumped to get into so much. Obviously, I know a lot of your story already, but I'm excited to be able to share it with the rest of the world. So, on that note, we like to start with the origin stories, like what brought you to Gainesville, and what led to the creation of Bar Forte, and how old the company is, where you're at now, and just give us a little the origin story, please.
Cool.
You-
Yeah, I'll start things off. Well, we're both California native, so we're across the country. Greg decided to get his PhD in organic chemistry. Actually, started off in polymer chemistry at the University of Southern Mississippi, so that was our venture south. And then about 3.5 years ago, his advisor took a position at UF, so that brought us to Gainesville. We were so happy to be in Gainesville. Mississippi we got some nice culture and made new friends and had some great takeaways, but are really enjoying the supermarkets. You didn't know how much important it was to have a good grocery store, and just the overall vibe of Gainesville better fits with us. So we're happy to be here. We moved here in January of 15.
yeah.
And then while Greg was working away on his degree, I was teaching classes at a bunch of different studios and traveling around, and during this whole process I had gotten the bar bug. I was certified in a lot of different formats, which I still love and enjoy, weightlifting and kickboxing and spin. But when I took my first bar class, I knew this was where it's at. I had this light bulb moment, chills, the whole experience of this is so fun and effective, and I want to do it every day. And when we moved here, there wasn't bar in
So that was
Gainesville.
in that first class. We were in Cleveland for a wedding,
Yeah.
and she took a class there and came. And she'd been teaching group fitness classes for like 10 years, so
'Cause that's what you do when you go to Cleveland
yeah. And
for a
so
wedding.
anytime we travel anywhere, Brinn just like looks up classes to take. Anytime we travel anywhere.
cool.
So she did that and just came back and was like, "This is the thing. I want to do this." And that's when we were still in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And there was another couple there that owned like a salon that had a space next to it, and they wanted to do something in fitness, so they kind of did the capital, and they were going to do it anyway, and they had Brinn kind of manage it, and that was like our last 6 months there before we were moving here. We kind of knew that. And then when we got here in January, there wasn't a bar studio here. Brinn's just like, "This is what I want to do. I love this. I'm committed to it." And we kind of looked at some properties, and it's just like, "You want to do this in March?" And it's like, "Okay, I believe in you. let's pull the trigger and
That's awesome.
sign a lease. And then I have some construction background from a while back.
So Brinn's like, Greg, go build a studio.
And that's what we did. And so I would spend
awesome.
my days in the lab and then go to the studio
1
and
a.m.,
start
2
working.
a.m.,
So I'd be
building
like,
walls.
I'd be like 8 a.m. to, I just tapped the table. I'm not supposed to do that. It'd be like, 8 a.m. to 5, 6 p.m. in the lab. And then from 7 to like 2 a.m. building, and then do it again for like a month and a half, and opened May 15th. Go ahead,
Yeah.
take over, Brinn. This
This
point.
is obviously all BBB before baby Brandon, so we could do that kind of thing. But
There's cell phones
What
going
is
on.
going on here?
We're gonna
Just theme
learn.
music.
We're gonna learn about the cell phone thing eventually.
Turn mine off.
yeah, so it's really cool to just have help with the build out, and we were able to fire things up and open May 15th of 15. So we just had our 3-year anniversary not too long ago. So that's a really exciting thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was it about bar specifically? Like when you went and did that workout that it just like resonated, or you got the goosebumps, or like what
Yeah.
was it that created that? Was there anything specific, or just like?
Definitely, yeah. There's 2 things that stuck out. First of all, it was my first time taking a class in more of a boutique studio environment. So smaller space, everything's kind of catered towards you. When I walked in, I see this little bowl of nut mix that was complimentary. That just made me happy, and that's something we do at the studio too. And just a small space, you get to know the instructor. The music was fun. The hour flew by, and I went in there strong, right? I was working out every day, feeling good, and I had never had my triceps quiver like that. My core, I couldn't laugh for days. It was like so sore, and I just thought that was awesome.
I can vouch for that because they do this bring a boy to bar thing. Like, how often do you guys do that?
Once a month.
Once a month.
Yeah,
okay.
so we brought you.
So, and I stole a shirt from Greg. What I did. So see, I got my bar. For everybody who's listening, I'm
Bar
wearing
so hard.
a shirt that says "Bar So Hard," and the thing that I remember, like my calves, dude, my calves.
Yeah,
like,
no kidding.
For a week. Yeah. Like I could barely walk. I almost made somebody push me around in a wheelchair because I was like hurting so bad. But it is definitely
In a good way.
You don't
It's a good hurt.
expect it to be that intense. And I think that's what's like so crazy about it is like you just really don't think it's going to be that intense, but it is.
Yeah,
It's
nobody expects it because you go in, it's like that boutique studio. And like Brinn said, it's those little things that you do at a boutique, like a little nut mix, like little waters, little things. We really make a point. What's crazy to me is Brinn just knows everybody's name. It's nuts how good she is at that. I know. And so doing those little things, and then you go in and it's a killer workout. And when we bring guys, it's so funny. Like first time guys, like you use low weights, but we keep weights that are like 6, 7, 8 pound weights in there. And a guy inevitably grabs one of those every time. And it's like a minute in, they're just like done. Got to put them down and switch out. Like it's burned out. So it's super fun. I tried to get you to do that, I think, but
well, you go with the heavier weight.
Yeah.
You're like,
I
I'm
think you
like
took the
all
bait on
macho.
that
I'm like,
one.
no, take the little guys.
My girlfriend does a ton of bar as well, and we have a room in our house that's dedicated to bar actually.
Nice.
So it's fully mirrored. We've got the bars around it. I use it as my golf room.
Nice.
Bars
Let's do
too hard for me. But, I get in there a little bit and try different stuff, but it's a killer workout. It's really impressive.
Yeah, I want to get back to kind of the startup grind. Like, well, really going back to that conversation of, hey, let's start a bar studio, because I can only imagine what that conversation's like. I mean, how you say, all right, let's do this, let's pull the trigger. I mean, how much time, thought process went into that? Was it relatively quick? Was like,
Probably not enough.
yeah, not enough.
I'm a really
It's not enough.
spontaneous, like go for it. I want to do it. Let's do it tomorrow. Greg reins me in a little
I'm
bit.
very
and is
le-
like,
I'm
okay,
much more logistical.
There's 72 steps to get
Yeah,
there.
it's like there's a process here that we have to do and like check things off. And so we're very different in that regard. Yeah, Brinn's just kind of like gung ho. This is what I want to do. Let's do it. And
that's
don't
because
worry
Brinn's a
about it.
visionary. You're like me.
I'm
I'm the same way.
I think definitely that's true.
Brinn and I are the same.
And then I'm
person.
like, well, this is what we have to do then to get there. And so on like the one hand, that works really well for us as a team to do something like that. Like she says, this is what I want, and I kind of figure out how to get it done, and then just do the work. But then on the other hand,
CEO, and then you are the COO.
yeah.
Very much in a relation, right?
Very much in the relationship. But that can also create a little animosity too, because she like wants to go, and I'm probably a little more detail oriented than I need to be, and slow things down. So like it helps build each other, but then kind of it can be a pain at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
he's like, measure once, cut twice, and I've already like hung up 5 things.
No, it's measure twice, cut once. See, you're measuring once, cutting twice over here, messing everything
I
up.
can't even get that right.
So
I'm like hanging up, get to decor. He's like, we gotta.
It's like, okay, now I'm going to take that off and then paint the wall. So, yeah, there was some of that.
Oh, gosh.
So that was a real, the day we opened, like, I finished plumbing the sink, I think, like a half an hour before the first client showed up. Like, it was pretty nuts. I was, like, finishing everything up with cleaners coming behind me and just wrapping it up and got it done.
But we knew bars, just continuing to grow as a trend around the country. We knew it's in all the major cities everywhere, and even some of the, the smaller ones. If it's in Mississippi, it's got to be in Florida too. So
kind of ragging on Mississippi a little bit over here.
Mississippi love.
Don't want to alienate anybody.
Sorry, we love Mississippi, but it's better.
But we're glad to be here.
So we knew it was, if we put enough heart into it, that it was going to work.
You guys know that Shannon would never come work with me. That's come up a few times through these episodes.
We're aware.
So, what's it like, what's been the biggest benefit? Let's start with that. What's been the biggest benefit of working with each other? And then I'm going to obviously get into the challenges of working and building a business with each other. So what's the greatest thing about having your husband as a right-hand man in all of it, and then likewise Greg?
You want to go first?
No.
I think benefit is you get to know another side of the person, because a lot of times when you have your significant other going to work, it's like you have kind of a work family and you have a life that they're not involved in, and that can be a good thing, but you also kind of act a different way sometimes at work than you do at home. And so that's like a whole nother person that most of the time you don't get to know in a way. And so when you're working together, you do get to see that person, and you at times are a very different person than you are at home. So I think that's been a pretty interesting thing, because I've seen Brinn like grow as a businesswoman like I never knew that she would. Like when we first got married and were first together, like I didn't think, like I thought you were gonna be like a writer, like she's got a master's in English and wrote for magazines and did all this other stuff, and then was like, I want to do this, let's go for it. And then she's just done what it takes to grow as a businesswoman, like joining any type of organization she can, going to any seminar she can, talking to everybody she can, other successful entrepreneurs like yourself, and just kind of being a sponge and soaking things up, and has just grown like crazy. And so that, I think, has been probably my favorite thing about it, to be able to know that other part of the person that a lot of the time you miss out when you don't work together.
Is it like, what's the biggest difference between home life and like business life? Is it, does she in the studio, she's straight business, like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, at the studio, I guess you have to come and see. It's just not like that. Like, she's created such an amazing environment there that there's just none of that. Like with our team members, both our bartenders, like our instructors, we call bartenders, and bar backs, like our other like front desk type team members. There's just constantly just like this positive attitude. Like there's not like that strict like grind, but it happens anyway, because it's just a result of the atmosphere that's being created. So that's just an awesome thing that she has. But it's definitely more, not to say that it's not professional there, like it's extremely professional, but then when we're at home, especially now, I don't know, we're kind of dorks. Like we play around and we do a bunch of silly stuff like at home. So it's not like that, kind of professional thing. And then now that we have a 20 months now, the little baby B.
That's what I call him.
And so we Is this when you
His
like
name's Brandon.
show his picture?
Just so everybody-
You cut away and show a picture at this point, or a little video?
We can. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Cute.
But like, yeah, so we just like play a lot, and yeah, we just kind of nerd out, and then go to work and it's business. So
So Brinn, is the greatest thing about Greg being involved with you in the business is the ability to build the studio. I know
Probably
that's.
at
I know
this
you're so
point.
good at that
I
stuff,
know.
man. I'm like,
I mean, it is that fact that, he did work till 2 a.m. and you can't, hire somebody to do that, to put the extra sweat and time in. And so, like, recently we had an event until 9 o'clock, and I came home and took a shower, and he went back and took the lights down. He had put up, strobe lights and black lights and things, and you can't hire
Can't
somebody
leave
to
it.
do
There's
that.
There's a class the next morning. You gotta get
But
it
if it's your
squared
husband,
away.
you can say you're doing this. So, and he actually offered to, so that was really cool. So it's nice to have somebody that you can ask to do above and beyond things, because
Right.
they're your husband and they will. They love you. But also, it's just awesome to have him be a part of that work family. So everyone likes to talk about work all the time, right? I mean, they're
Right.
excited about it, and so that's me. And I'm like, oh, so-and-so is doing this and doing that, and I love to share the stories of the inspiring women that come to class every day. And so the fact that he, met them last Saturday when he came by with the baby or something is really cool. So I like that aspect of it as well. We do have to have those moments where we're like, okay, we are not talking about business
Yeah.
right now.
You
But,
definitely, for any other husband who might have to work together, you
like
know
when you
that.
get home, or you just
Yeah,
in
well,
general?
like you keep working when you're at home. I mean, when
Not
you're in your
all
own
the
business, you
time.
know what it is. But you're always kind of thinking about it. But you've really got to be conscious and purposely be like, this is not work time. Like we're shut work out of your mind. Now is home time. I mean, you definitely still work at home when it's appropriate, but
then you
really
get
have
that-
to do that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you just get so bogged down sometimes. So
But because he's so invested in the business, when I get that 2 a.m. Inspiration, I can share it and talk about it. And he's like, "Okay, let's start researching that tomorrow. This new piece of equipment or new idea that I'm going off after next." So
hey, honey, I want to have 10 new studios by next semester.
you're building them
yeah,
all.
Can you
No.
get started, please?
So I would say, too, I don't know if we're jumping ahead in the timeline, but like when we first started, did the whole build out, and then a lot of it, like I said, doing like logistical stuff I did a lot of like procedural type things, like for how to, like our software, how we're going to run our, we have a really cool boutique space in there with
Yeah.
really great clothes. Brinn can talk more about that stuff
The clothes are awesome.
later. But like, so setting up, inventory and the POS stuff and all that, like, so I put a lot in up front, like on the logistical, this is how things need to go, but now have handed the majority of stuff off. We have a manager who's awesome now.
Go Alex.
I'll let Brinn talk more about that, but that's where my main investment was earlier on, and for the first
Yeah, because we know
Well,
my brain doesn't work like that.
for the first
Operations?
first year, and then there was the baby, and we kind of had some, just randomly right when the baby was born, had some instructor flux, which was kind of brutal. And so I was kind of trying to withdraw a little bit to do something else, and
Get sucked right back
sucked
in.
right back in.
That's what happens
It's
in
like,
business, man.
we got to do it. So just figure it out. And so
Well, on that note, I mean, has that been the biggest challenge then, do you think? Or what has been the biggest challenge?
what do you mean, instructor?
No, I mean, obviously, I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, even myself, you always want to be working, as leaders on the business and not necessarily like in the business, at least all the time. But there's so many times where you start making plans and then you get sucked right back in. Like, I mean, do you see that as something that's been challenging throughout the years? Like, you're still instructing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so you're still
definitely.
doing classes. I mean,
I'll be doing
is
10
that,
o'clock today.
is that I mean, you really enjoy that part of it.
I truly
as,
do,
as
yeah.
well. I mean, where do you see, like, as you look for opportunities to grow, you know, is that going to take a back seat, or is that still going to be something that you carve out and make time for? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely want to always keep instructing, because that's how I interact with the clients the best and get to share, you know, my knowledge and my passion for fitness. But I do see it evolving. You know, I went from teaching every class when we opened. That was 20 to 25 a week. I would do 3 in the morning, eat everything I could, 3 in the evening.
It was brutal.
Call Greg, have dinner ready, and then pass out. So that was, you know, tough. But then we started gradually having more and more instructors. And then now all of a sudden we have this like amazing team of like 20 people. It's really cool. So I've gone, you know, to more like 10 classes a week, which is nice and manageable. And that means I can, you know, give my best to each one and really feel like I'm fresh. But yeah, as we evolve, you know, I have other ideas and passions I want to pursue. I had some goals last year of like putting on my first health fair and putting on my first wellness retreat. So I was able to do those. This year, starting next week, we're doing our first triathlon training program, which was a passion of mine that kind of got on the back seat for the past 3 years. And now I'm like, okay, how can I start weaving that in? So we're starting a bar tribe program. See what I did there? Starting next Friday. So I'm really excited about being able to share my triathlon knowledge with my clients, and maybe that'll open up even some non-clients and kind of bring them into the studio in a different light. I also just, you know, have learned a lot about owning a fitness studio, and so I'm excited to, you know, as clients move and think about opening their own, where they move to, they're like, there's no bar here either. Then I, you know, want to think about how I could give them some helpful advice. So that's a way to keep growing. Adding on new formats and new fusions of bar and other styles is important to me. So I want to have time to just keep growing and learning and bringing that into the studio and doing more presentations at conferences and things like that. So
yeah, that's what those like 2 a.m. wake up, I had a new idea for a class. Like that's what those are typically. And like I said, since she's had so many years of experience teaching group fitness formats, like she's like, oh, we can blend it like this and do that. And well, I'm gonna hold back a minute. We gotta find time slots, do this, and then I start thinking, okay, what do we have to do to get that done? Yeah. So
I want to circle back really quick because I kind of just carried that conversation going with the benefits, but I want to circle back. You know, I'm fascinated by these husband and wife couples that we've had on the show and how well they work together, and then but then I'm always like, but tell me the truth. Tell me the nitty-gritty truth. Like what's the hard part? Yeah. I mean, you see each other all the time. I mean, you're now working separately, right?
So I've been able to withdraw almost completely. Not quite. Not really. Well, it'll never be like that. Completely. But not even.
Like the AC's out.
Not completely. But quite a bit, yeah. So I'm working full time doing something else now. So, it's kind of, and during the transition of me kind of pulling away, I think was our hardest part, because she'd have all the honeydew lists and some emails and stuff, and I would be doing something else and not get to it, and
but he hadn't really clearly laid out how to do it. So now I'm like, well, if you're wanting to pass it off to someone else, you've got to really write out the steps that make sense to not just you, but people like me have very different brains. So
it's
things like creating graphics or creating just even like newsletter content that he had taken over. We had to backstep and figure out.
Yeah, well, you get it. Like formatting a graphic for Facebook, where when they do their auto crop to make it fit for if you make an event, and how's the picture going to fit if you post that link of your newsletter, which one you select, that any text you put in that picture is going to stay in frame, like those things that like you have to kind of learn how to do.
Right.
And I just was like, yeah, this is how I do it. And then it doesn't work that way when you're trying to teach somebody for the first time.
Just make them do it at 3:00 in the morning.
Right?
Now, yeah, we've been able to hand a lot off to Alex, who's our manager, who is awesome. She's amazing. And
when did you bring her on? Like how far into the business?
So we had a different manager for a little while that moved in October of 2016, which is the same month that baby was born. So that got a little bit hairy, and Alex started up with us the February after that, February of 17. So we had a few months there. That's what he was saying, where he got sucked back in, where it was like really tough. And then now she's doing even more than our previous, managers. So she's really stepped up and been amazing. And she's an instructor as well. So that's great to have as a backup all the time.
Yeah. And the manager leaving when the baby's born.
Yeah.
I would, when it rains,
Yep.
it
Dude, it
pours.
was rough. 'Cause we had at that point we had an awesome team of instructors too, and it was just random things that they moved. Like one got married and just they wanted to move to Atlanta. It's like, all right, that's great. One's husband got transferred to Houston.
Dude.
Awesome. Good for you.
It happened
Congratulations.
for
Good
me
luck.
too,
Yeah.
And it was like 2 or 3 others all at once.
Yeah.
And then Brinn had a baby. And
I was like, okay, I'm
Brinn
teaching more than ever. And
Brinn literally taught the night before she had the baby. I mean, he was early, but like
I did come home
the
and say,
night
honey,
before.
that's the last
And she
one.
did, like, that's the last class. And then the next day, like,
Oh my God.
all right, let's go have a baby. Let's do this. So,
It reminds
3 weeks
me-
later, back in the studio.
no.
Crazy, man. That's crazy. All that craziness reminds me of the time when my kids were born. They're like, do you know
Peak
this?
season.
No.
So my son Schaefer
Oh, yeah.
was born on the first day of school, like August 24th, like 2009. I mean, man, it literally was the first day of school. I mean, and about our business,
Yeah,
like
definitely.
August, especially back to school time, just crazy. So I'm like, peace out, team. I'm going to go have a baby. Well, I'm not going to. Shit, I'm going to go watch shit and have a baby. And then of course, I told my team, I'm like, okay, never again. We will plan better as husband and wife to make sure that never happens again. Dude, I'm like, shit you not. Okay, 4 years later, to the day.
Yeah, I know. I still can't believe
August
it.
24th, 2013. Yeah, I mean, it makes for a great story to
crazy.
tell. But my team just about died. They just, they laugh it off. But to miss, back to school time, or at least that day. In fact, at least the second time, it fell on the weekend. I mean, it was literally like Friday, and then, okay, baby, Saturday, in the hospital Sunday, home and work on Monday. So it actually worked better that time.
Thanks,
But,
Maddox.
Yeah, good job,
You're
Maddox.
due
Yeah, good
for
job, Maddox.
maybe
Schaefer,
another
take some
one
notes.
What?
next year, 2019.
No.
Yeah, you guys are due.
No.
The cul-de-sac
No
needs
more.
a new baby, man. Come
No
on.
more.
You guys
No
are up.
more. No more. But it's I think that happens in almost every business.
Yeah,
When it
of
rains,
course.
it pours,
Yeah.
it all comes down. You feel, and there's times when you lose team members, and sometimes I feel like when we lose one team member, we lose 3 or 4. It's like it's all at the same time, or they're graduating, or because we work with a lot of students, they'll graduate. So it's like we have all these team members, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. Ty, brother, what questions do you have for him?
Yeah, so I wanted to cycle back to the origin a little bit. So bar isn't exactly brand new. It's ballet-inspired fitness. It's been around for a while, but it kind of, for me, I think my girlfriend started doing it around the same time as you guys opened, maybe a little earlier. Bar's kind of, come out party was like 2013, 2014. Do you think that kind of this new era of social media and Instagram and just how pretty and nice bar is, it kind of gave the trend a kind of a kickstart? And obviously it's not a trend anymore. It's here to stay. It's exploded across the world. Tell us a little bit of how you guys have used the social media to kind of help tell that story, maybe in a city that didn't know as much about it, or the people that were going in Miami and coming up to school, or when they traveled, they were finding this new thing they loved, and you guys brought it.
Yeah. So just keeping our Facebook really robust has been a nice insider view into our studio. I think a lot of people have the image of bar being for an already ballerina body, when really it's supposed to, kind of help create those long, lean muscles, but it's very much for all fitness levels. Because it's no impact on your joints, then it's really safe and effective. It actually has some physical therapy background as well, so a lot of people will be like, oh, I have to do this in physical therapy, but now I can do it in a room full of inspiring, motivating women with great music, someone telling me what to do. So that's been great because people can hop on our Facebook page and see pictures of our real clients, our real people, so kind of see, hey, that looks more like me than I thought. And so that's been really great. We have like a video clip going on our page right now where you can really get an inside view into the studio and kind of have a better picture of what you're walking into. We'll do like technique tip videos that people can see something broken down a little more slowly, can practice at home. So I think social media has been great for us.
Yeah, it definitely makes it easier to maybe take your first class, then maybe easier to work it on it on your own, so you want to do it again and again and again.
Definitely.
I know I do that. I coach golf a little bit too, so I'm in that same kind of mode where it's trying to get people that maybe aren't comfortable the first time and saying, hey, it's not that hard. Yeah, it's really hard, but it's not that hard to get started. You know, if you get started the right way and you have a good team around you and good coaches, it's a fun thing that you can use the rest of your life. Very cool. And then the other thing I wanted to ask is, I've been on your community event calendar and see you guys have been involved with Active Streets and Veg Fest and different things. You're by One Love for the people that don't know where you are.
Yeah.
And there's always stuff going around. So if you guys could kind of explain or tell us a little bit of how you guys have collaborated with other businesses in the community, or things that you guys are looking forward to as you've grown and been able to maybe think because you've got some other people helping you guys out now.
Yeah, that's,
so what's the next step?
I'm really excited to talk about that. That's one of my favorite parts of being a business owner, is the opportunity to collaborate with other businesses in town, to keep things local and have fun collaborations. So we're doing that all the time. And so yeah, going to community events, but like, you know, today, for instance, we're headed from bar to bar. We'll go to our neighbors, Crafty Bastards over across the parking lot. They're giving us first drink on them, and just a way to support them, but also to create community within our clients. You mentioned One Love. We do bar to brunch once a month, where we head to brunch together after class on a Saturday morning, so that's super fun. We collaborate a lot with First Magnitude Brewery. We'll be out there on July 8th for a yoga brew class. We do that once a month.
That one's super fun.
Yeah, there'll be like 100 people from the community just sweating together, enjoying a brew.
Yeah, we set up the tables and they're up on tables.
Usually
get like
especially when you're pregnant.
Yeah, she did that too. Like 4 instructors out there just tie into their sound system, and yeah, it's awesome. I mean, like, I think we've, like, when I count, there's been like over 110 people at one point just in their big warehouse area. They clear all the tables out, and yeah, if you've never, kind of done that before, that's a really good opportunity to do it for your first time. It's the 8th, right?
Well, this will be done by the time that this is on.
Yeah.
But another thing that'll just be wrapping up when this airs is our Dog Days of Summer, which I'm really excited about. My studio manager, Alex, who I've been, praising, is really passionate about Gainesville Pet Rescue. She's got 4 dogs that have all been fosters at one point. And so we're doing a week long of she's doing a donation-based class, but we actually paired up with Natel because we saw her on the podcast and thought she was awesome. So we've been collaborating with her to design Dogs at the Bar t-shirt and stickers that we're going to have the proceeds go to Gainesville Pet Rescue. So we've teamed up on that. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How much of the collaborations led to business growth? I mean, is that something that you can measure, or is this more of a, we just want to be part of the community and just feel good about what we're doing, feel good about working with other businesses? I'm, obviously as a business owner, I'm always very intrigued by, do the collaborations help grow the company?
They do, definitely. We have a lot of people come in from taking that first class at First Mag. But I was thinking about that last night, actually, before our 6 o'clock class. We had 3 ladies that had just been in the studio for a United Way donation-based class. They were doing a bar-to-bar with the Women's United group. And 3 of them were coming back, and they had about a month, and they were sticking around, and they wouldn't have ever come in if they hadn't been introduced to it through that donation-based United Way class.
Awesome.
So little things like that, it's not always as much as you hope or all at once, but really our true motivation is to serve the community. So that's just, bonus, and it's really
And that's
great.
been awesome too, being new to the community and just kind of firing up a business and stuff, but then getting that community interaction. We've been able to become so invested and just get to know people in Gainesville so quickly. It's been really great. You've just made all these great relationships through doing all these just community interaction things that we never would have, just had we not done that, we wouldn't be so kind of intertwined and invested in the community. So that's been really kind of a bonus for us in our personal lives. So.
Yeah. No, that's what we do at Best of Gainesville all the time. Is I love trying to help promote and put people together. Especially for us, we deal with a lot of our followers are students or people coming into town for the first time. They find us and they're like trying to learn the city or where to go to eat or where to work out or whatever. We get just DM'd all the time, emailed, and it's always, we're building some things on the back end to help tell that story with, some different newsletter, different things. But I think that's the one great thing about Gainesville is you can come here now kind of out of nowhere or for the first time, and you can get yourself in this community pretty quick. I think people are extremely nice here and willing to collaborate and let you into their personal circles. And that's kind of what we're trying to do in this podcast, is show that, hey, Gainesville's like an opportunity regardless of who you are, where you come from. If you're not from here, if you're not on campus, you can still build a business here, and the entrepreneurship community for sure wants to work with people. And like Natel, I mean, that's like the greatest thing I've ever heard. I worked with Natel on a thing last summer and we still work together, and that's just, you found her on the podcast. I mean, that's awesome.
Cool, right?
I mean, that's super cool. I can't wait to see those shirts.
What? This is like working already? Yeah. Results are coming from this? That's like incredible. I want to bring it back to some of the business side, because I'm always intrigued by the money part of business, right? So you obviously offer the classes, and that's subscription based. Like,
Yeah, they can do either memberships or pay per class. So we do class packs of 5, 10, or 20, and they don't expire for 3, 6, and 9 months. So those are great for the people that are kind of using the workout to complement other ways that they're working out. We have a lot of runners that are training for a marathon, but they want to get some toning to help prevent injury and just to strengthen. So they'll come, once a week on a class pack. Most people, though, they'll come in for a free week. We offer a free week and try an unlimited amount of classes. That includes our yoga and Pilates formats. Each bar class is going to be different every day, so keep your muscles guessing. And then they'll jump into a discounted unlimited first month and see, hey, am I really coming 2 to 3 times, 4 times, some of them 7 times a week? Then I'm going to stick with unlimited, or was it once a week and I'm going to go to a class pack? And so we have people that do the membership or the class packs, so that works really well.
Gotcha. And earlier you said that you guys had just dropped a little tidbit about clothes. So, because you do have like a part of the business, which is actually like a store, right?
Boutique, yep.
And like, I'm looking at Brinn's shirt and it says, "Be a badass with a good ass."
Right?
And so like, how effective, or how much revenue, but like what percentage of the business comes from other revenue sources that's not, classes?
Yeah, definitely a majority is from classes. The thing about retail, and that was never my intention, is going in and opening a little boutique, but it's just kind of evolved, is that you're always, restocking. So you feel like you're always just reinvesting. I mean, you're doing that with the other part of the business too, but just restocking more merchandise. So it doesn't always feel like it's this huge money generator, but I love it because people are excited about it. They're, twinning at the bar, like wearing matching shirts. They're getting, more invested in the bar culture by wearing the bar gear. And so, and they're all like really high quality stuff. So it's like things I put my stamp on. So it's not, necessarily making a ton with the boutique side, but we're having fun with it, and it allows us to like stay trendy with things that are going on. And
it definitely brands it,
Yeah,
I like all the funny
content,
sayings.
Yeah. There's a lot of play on the word tuck, as you can imagine, because we tuck all class. So that's fun.
We tuck. That's great.
Yeah, and it's a great content piece. I mean, I follow some yoga people that went to UF that are in other cities, and it's amazing how much gear. I mean, it's its own total industry. It's like it's a sport now. It's got its own deal, and when someone takes a photo of your shirt somewhere else, I mean, it's just the opportunity keeps growing and growing as you guys grow.
Yeah.
What's been your best shirt that you guys have made, or your best kind of retail piece?
Ooh, that's an awesome question. So we have a lot of brands that we love, but one, actually the leggings I'm wearing now, I might have to do a quick model, but I'm attached to a cord.
Are you still in video?
The brand is called NUX, N-U-X, and they're just like super comfortable, and they're high compression, which a lot of our ladies like. They hold everything in. We're working on that in class too, but it's nice to have a little help. So any of the high compression leggings by NUX has been awesome. But as far as like fun sayings, we've had a lot of them be really successful, just like #BarLife is one of them. And everyone, bought that up, and it's just kind of embraced what they're after. We have one right now called Good Vibe Tribe, and it's just kind of got like a sunset. So it's very like Florida feels, and that's what we're all about, is like
It's a little
putting
retro
enough,
too. I like that one.
yeah, putting enough good vibes, and
And are you guys creating some of these yourselves?
yeah, so
Okay.
any of the branded designs, we
Okay.
will submit, an idea and work with a designer to brand that. And actually, the company we had been working with closed recently, which has been a blessing in disguise because they were out of Ohio, and so now we're bringing everything local. And Nattel introduced us to the Tea Shop this week, so we're doing some screen printing with them. So I'm really excited to be able to work more hands on hand with people in town.
Yeah, they're great. Have you guys used the Tea Shop before?
I haven't, man.
They'll
Like-
come out and they'll do live screen printing at events. So if you guys have an event coming up where that could happen, it'd be really cool.
Tea Shop.
This
hit me
hat's
up.
from the Tea Shop. All the stuff I do is from the Tea Shop
Oh,
usually.
cool.
Yeah.
Another podcast connection. Look at that.
Yeah, we can sneak him on the podcast,
Yeah.
and then I can just negotiate my deal, right?
Exactly. That's good style.
Well, one of the things I'm always interested in when it comes to, entrepreneurs is the self-development. We've had this come up a couple of times, like investing into yourself. What ways do you guys listen to any other podcasts, or do you read books or anything to really invest into your own education?
Just you, Collin. We do try to do that.
Everybody's
you
going to
get that
start
answer
thinking
a
that
lot, yeah.
I know everybody's going to think I start setting these up.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you sent us those last night, right?
No, we do try to read books as we can, and listen to podcasts and read articles. Joining networking groups has been, my favorite way to just like meet people and then get coffee and talk with other business owners has really been the best for me. Just an opportunity to dive into questions, to be more interactive. I'm like, here's my actual situation, how did you handle it in your business? So got the small group roundtable through the chamber starting next week that I'm excited to be involved with. And so we've been busy with that.
Yeah, she reads a lot more books and stuff than I.
What's your favorite book?
I know you're going to ask that, and I can't remember the name, so I'm going to be total a bust on that one.
Oh, dang.
I'll get back to you on that. It's like something cool, fired up, like you rock. Something that's
Pump you up.
yeah. I think it's good because it kind of reminds you to take risks. I had somebody, a business consultant, one time tell me that there's not as many women business owners, right? We can believe that because they're not, trained or told or feel like they can take as many risks. And so when I get nervous and scared, and is this going to work? I try to remind myself of that, and it's like, you're a woman, you're going to take a risk, let's do it. So that was just something somebody told me. Just like little tidbits that stay in my mind. I could have read them in a book, but again, a little promotion of Collin, what you say about like not getting wrapped up with your competition is something I play through my head a lot too. And so that kind of drives some of my decisions and my good vibes too.
I think that's so important. I mean, from my gauge so far, I know we've only put out, this is episode 12. At this point, like, I know that some of the audience has been other businesses and other business owners and entrepreneurs, and that's really cool because that's what I love. And I would love nothing more for yes, I want the rest of Gainesville to listen to, but yes, definitely the business community. And I think it's so important to be able to make those connections with others and learn from others because I can tell you, like, dude, my competition, especially early, was just so, it was just, I'll use the word cutthroat. It was dirty, Yeah. And I just kept telling and I grew too, and I wasn't always like the, I don't want to say I wasn't a dirty player. I was just you get frustrated. You're like, dang, why are you always coming at me, And so you have to constantly remember to stay true to you and to your values. So I would challenge any entrepreneurs out there listening, if you're having problems with competition, or if you feel like competition's always throwing stuff your way, just stay focused on you and your business. I constantly tell my team, it doesn't matter. I don't, at this point in my company, I don't even look at what the others are doing. Don't even care. I'm just stay focused on what we're building, what is our mission, what is our vision, and are we living up to that every single day? But that is a hard lesson to learn as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, definitely. And, if you're only focused maybe on your initial competitors, that means there's probably space for someone to come in and say, hey, be opportunistic and maybe take you both down or everybody down, because maybe you're not focused on providing a great experience or, working on your own brand. You're just trying to beat the other brand. So I think that's a really good lesson for everybody, just to focus on yourself, do the best, focus on your team, build what you can internally, and it'll work out. And I think, we've connected with a lot of businesses that are doing that. No one's really talked like too competitively on the podcast unless it's being competitive with yourself and your self-motivation and, just being focused.
That's the way you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm competing with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's the only person you should be competing with.
Yeah.
But I feel like I often run into or get in conversations about business and where a lot of people get very hung up on what competitors are doing. So I think it's a really good lesson. So I want to ask on that, what's the greatest piece of advice, and don't say it came from you, Collin, or just in general, or that you could offer. Let's go with that. Like, what piece of advice could you offer to a startup that's, around the same, you're three years old at this point? Like, what would you say to a startup business that's 3 years old?
My two main kind of focuses are celebrating my clients. That's always kind of at the forefront of my mind. What can I do to make them feel special? Because they're what keeps our lights on and makes me be able to do what I love every day. But they're just so amazing. They're coming in with hardships or illnesses or this is going on in their personal life, and they come for that hour, and I'm going to make sure that they are feeling special and catered to and that they have a good experience. But with that, that was really always been my focus. In the beginning, I wasn't as team building driven. And so that's one thing that I've tried to refocus on in the last couple of years, or just in the last year, is especially now that I have more instructors and we've grown, you can't just focus on the clients. You have to make sure your team feels loved and respected and encouraged, and they're contributing and take ownership in the business as well. And so
building that foundation.
Yeah. So that took me. You normally, I feel like you build the team and then you build the clients or the business. But I started with the clients because it was just me, and I had to refocus in on make sure your team feels as appreciated as they are.
Yeah. Well, we were going so fast when we first opened.
I think that's common.
It was, I think that's true for everybody. Building the rocket ship as you're taking off, kind of, So it was kind of crazy. And then we had that team, that really good one. Then we kind of lost people, and now we've got this team again. So it's kind of ready to refocus.
Hopefully nothing happens.
Yeah. None of you, anyone listening, none of you are allowed to leave.
But I see, I know that you guys focus on the culture of the company. I know that you focus on that team building. Because I'll show up from work one day. I'll be coming home and I see a bunch of cars. I'm like, dang, Greg and Brinn are having a party and I didn't get invited. And I'll go tell Shannon, Greg and Brinn are having a party. It's a work thing, Collin. It's a staff meeting, staff dinner. I'm like, oh. Okay.
Yeah.
You'll have the leftovers tomorrow.
I'm not as jealous anymore. It's okay. I'll forgive them this one.
One thing on your guys' staff, how are you guys been kind of filling these roles when people leave? Is it from people that have been coming to classes mostly and they're like, hey, I kind of want to become a bar instructor? Or are they, students coming in from out of town that are maybe doing it elsewhere and now they're at UF? Or how's that? How have you filled these positions?
Yeah, I feel so lucky. It's all been really organic, where they've started as clients, they buy into the culture already, they're invested, in our idea of fitness for all ages, for all stages, and then they are like, okay, I'm in, I want to become an instructor, I want to learn more, I want to do this. And so that's been really great. And so that's for the instructors. And the staff side, sometimes they've been a client at one point and they're like, if they're a student especially, they're like, I can't afford to go there anymore, but I want to keep coming. Is there any openings at the front desk? And especially if they've got some retail and sales experience, then it's awesome to bring them on because they truly appreciate the free membership that they get. So.
Yeah. On the instructor side too, it's mostly clients that you see that like you've seen them transform. You know, like one that's not with us anymore, like Jackie, that like you saw her, you know, when she first came, she got so much more lean and toned, and then she started at the front desk for a while and then ultimately became an instructor, and she was fantastic, and then she's moved on since then, and she's doing great. And like another one like Lauren that's just gotten so strong, and she's one of the body flow instructors, so not bar but body flow, she's just fantastic. And what's great about all of our instructors really is it's none of their full-time job, but they loved the studio so much and they just wanted to be a bigger part of it. So now, the team is just, like you say, when we have our staff meetings, we just have them at our house and, you know, hey, everybody bring a side, we're doing this. We've got, you know, things to talk about, but everybody just like gets together and then hangs out, you know, till later on in the evening, and because just everybody wants to be there. Yeah. And that's like the motivation for them being there. So it's just been, that's what makes it such a positive attitude all the time. Yeah. Like the instructors want to be there, the front desk people want to be there, the clients want to be there. So it's an awesome place.
When you can create that, you've got something super special. I mean, I remember a time where a bunch of students even came to the scooter shop and camped out in the beanbags and started doing their homework. And I'm like, hey guys, like, is there something we can help you with? They're like, no, we just wanted to study. I was like, the first time I'm like, really? I'm like, you don't need your scooter serviced? And they're like, no, not today. And they're like, all right, cool. Like do your thing. Awesome. I just wanted to make sure that you guys didn't need any assistance with anything.
That's cool.
Didn't want you to be in here like waiting for 3 hours, you know, if we were supposed to be doing something, you know. So, but yeah, that was cool. Just that feel, you know, you create that, you know, just that environment where people feel invited, they want to stick around, they want to stay. So that's really cool. So mad props to you guys on that. We got to start wrapping up pretty soon. And we like to wrap up with some Gainesville based questions. Okay. So Ty and I have a couple. You need a list?
Yeah.
So we've been asking. What's up? Go ahead. Tell us. Tell us. Oh, you haven't announced? You want to tell something?
No.
Share something.
Okay.
Do it.
Talk about.
We can do it in the side hustle.
Okay, side hustle.
We'll side hustle.
Go.
I like that.
Okay, so Greg and Brinn have secrets over
He's
here.
like kicking me under the table.
Greg and Brinn have secrets over there.
They're moving to Tallahassee.
Don't even.
Not true. Not true.
Don't even. I would.
No,
cry.
we have a contract. We can't leave the neighborhood. Like that's locked in.
In fact, talking about the neighborhood real quick, one of the things that we want to do as a neighborhood team is buy one of those. So you know, like bounce houses, right?
Yeah.
They have one that's blow up Irish pub, and we want to buy one to like blow up and put like right in the middle of the cul-de-sac on all the event weekends. You know, like July 4th, and like just. And maybe even charge a cover to come into our into our inflatable Irish pub.
Right?
I still want to make that happen.
I know.
This Halloween, it's going down.
As soon as I make some more money and can afford an Irish pub.
The inflatable Irish pub.
All right,
Come
so
on, it's just like $3,000. We'll be all right.
And I do have some side hustle questions. So, and specifically about the future of Bar Forte and some of the things that are happening there. So, you guys, make sure you check out the side hustle after this episode. It always airs on the next day. These air on Monday. Side hustles on Tuesday, and they're on Facebook at the WHOA GNV Podcast Facebook page. We're gonna wrap up with just a couple of questions, and Ty and I will share this piece of paper. But we've been asking a handful of like short answer questions now. People tend to go long on the short answer questions.
Keep it short.
So try to keep it as brief as possible, which is fine. Like we just don't want to have a 2-hour podcast because I got to start working soon.
Me too.
So my first question for you guys is, what's the most underrated aspect of Gainesville?
Good one.
After you.
I think that, you know, making sure we go outside. We just discovered, like, what's the trail by our house?
Well, the other San Falasco
The
Trail.
other San
We always go to
Falasco.
the big, like the running trails out further out 53rd. And then there's just the park, like right across the street, that we had just never gone over to, because we always go to the bigger one.
I mean, it's hot out, but there's shady moments, and it's buggy out, but there's unbuggy moments. Bug spray for that. So I just figured that sometimes, like, caught up in work and just
go
go
outside
in
and
places.
breathe a little bit.
It's
And
intriguing to me. That's come up quite a bit. Nature, like outside, all the stuff there is to do outside of Gainesville.
Yeah, there's a lot to do, and there's a lot of other stuff to do here. It's kind of underrated. Like, I like this size town. We kind of both like this size town we found to live in. But, a lot of people from a city or whatever, there's not enough culture here, this and that. But, if you get out there, like, there's a lot that happens, like at Phillips Center and downtown, and there's a few different, like, playhouses around town. It's like community theater. Like, if you look around, there's actually a lot to do, and that's something that we've really, really enjoyed about being here. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
All right, number 2. It's a perfect weekend in Gainesville. What are your top 3 go-to activities?
Ooh, another good one. It's changed a lot since baby, I'll tell you that.
Yes, it has.
Take a nap.
Well, no, now,
Take a
I mean,
nap.
honestly, go-to with him is Depot Park.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we love Depot Park, the splash pad. The kid loves the water, so he's always in there.
And then for mom and dad, we'll go to, Sidecar to First Mag. First
yeah,
Mag's
it
got
happens
the
to be right next to First Mag. and
baby
there's a
hookup
kids
now.
thing there, too. So
Kids zone.
I'd say a little Depot to First Mag outing.
He loves to go to the zoo, Santa Fe Zoo. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's perfect for him. So that is great for us, too, because it's shady and he's learning his animal noises. So
Yeah, they really hit so we did the family pass with them, because we can go, like once a week, and then you only have to go for like 20 minutes, and it's still get your money's worth. And they really set it up well, because they have the capuchins right at the front,
Yep,
the little
gets 'em in.
monkeys, and so he just, as soon as you walk in, he's this monkey, and he knows what sound a monkey makes now, so that's pretty awesome.
I bet there's a lot of people that don't know that Santa Fe has that teaching too.
yeah, it's really
Yeah,
if
we
you have
shared
kids, they have like a play set in the middle that's perfect for them. You go in, they see the monkeys at first, so we make the capuchin stop. We go around, we see the gibbons, we wrap back around, we do the playhouse, and you see the capuchins on the way out, and that's an awesome time. He loves it.
So.
Yeah, the teaching zoo is definitely a very underrated part of Gainesville, along with the planetarium that's there. I know they do all sorts of cool events, and we'll actually be promoting some stuff for them in the fall. But
See, I haven't done the planetarium. That
Yeah,
sounds-
it's very cool.
That'd be neat. All right, kind of circling back, because I know that you teach the classes at First Magnitude. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if First Magnitude has a favorite beer for you guys, or if it's somewhere else, but what's your favorite local beer?
I'm Ursa all day. First Mag, IPA.
Yeah, I like Ursa a lot, but I really like their Nightfall Porter. They really did a good job with that one.
There you go.
So.
Last one, man.
All right, blank is my favorite Gainesville restaurant.
I gotta go Embers.
Yeah.
Embers is awesome. It's so good. Man, yeah, I love it.
I love Civilization. It's got a great variety and so flavorful.
Those are 2 of my favorites. Yeah.
Civilization
Good.
was like right next to our old shop. So
Okay.
so they had the railroad that used to go through there, and they made that into the path.
Yep.
We used to be able to leave our old shop, walk down the path, and like go into like off the bike path, like right into Civilization. So it was pretty cool.
That's real cool.
Great choices. Well, you guys, thank you again so very much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I love you
Yeah.
both. You guys are the best. And we are going to do the side hustle, so check it out. And to everybody who's listening or watching. And that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to everybody who's listening. We appreciate it. I've been getting feedback. I love it. I got getting some LinkedIn messages,
Yeah.
which I love, which is
Yeah, it's
cool.
starting to pop. It's been good.
Yeah, man, it's great. So thank you so much for listening to the WHOA GNV Podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa.
Whoa.
We will see you
Whoa.
later. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
See ya.